Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary or the SITREP for the day of 813 to 814 for the 16th to the 17th of May. And Commander, do launch some fabs on the like button. No, you need some fabbing. No, you need some white stuff. I mean ashes, no white ashes on the like button. So anyway, fab it, and we're gonna get started with the frontline changes report. So I've already published a frontline changes report around maybe 12 hours ago as per this recording. There's more frontline changes, and all of them again is all red. And so despite the Ukrainians actually launched some massive drone strike on Russian territory on Sevastopol as well as some Krasnodar region, it is meaningless when the front lines continue to change. Which is why I usually don't talk too much about missile strikes and drone strikes because it doesn't really change the front line. The front line have its own life, has a life of its own. It's already 18 years old. They decided to move out away from the parents. But anyway, we're gonna start off with frontline changes. There is multiple changes at Yasnobrodivka, Netailove, Marfopil, Robotyne, and Lukyantsi. So actually I should put Lukyantsi on the top. Okay, so we're gonna start off with Lukyantsi. So based on the Russian mapping, in the frontline changes report, I already mentioned the Russian forces geolocated in 3 different locations, resulting in a massive change of the front line, which means that the Russians have actually launched some massive attack. According to the Russian mapping, there is actually another advance south of Lukyantsi. This is actually not mentioned. It's not geolocated, and interestingly, also based on the Russian mapping, they did not indicate this one. The geolocated one is not in the Russian mapping, so this is actually a separate push. So anyway, we will continue to monitor. For sure, but this is the frontline change right now. This is a Russian claim, but this is confirmed. This is Russian capture. So the next frontline change is over at Yasnobrodivka. So Yasnobrodivka is actually at the Avdiivka Front. This is Avdiivka city, and at Yasnobrodivka there is a Russian geolocation. Russian forces getting geolocated, showing that they have advanced west towards Yasnobrodivka, and we are looking at the next push, the next chess move, the next turn. It's like turn-based game. The next turn, the Russians is going to attack into Yasnobrodivka because it's just next to it. So, and the next frontline change is over at Netailove. South of this position, again, this is geolocation, and this one is particularly interesting. Is geolocated by Deep State UA, and they claim that the Russians have now naughtily taken more positions within Netailove. So they are very very angry. They say that the Fiats on the western outskirts continue to advance. So yeah, whatever it is, fucking hell. So anyway, well, we that's all from Netailove. The next one line change is over. It looks like a this is a Tyrannosaurus Rex hand. Okay, so we move on to Marfopil. So Marfopil is actually at the Zaporizhzhia Front. So this is Zaporizhzhia city, and this is the Zaporizhzhia Front. Marfopil is here in the Huyaipole sector. This Huyaipole, and over at this location again is geolocation in the Dacha region, showing that the Russians have firm control now over in the northern regions of Marfopil, which means that the next hop is going to be a drive down this road towards Huyaipole. But I don't think the Russians will go towards that direction because fighting at Huyaipole will be a massive war, a massive battle, and I don't think the Russians are planning to do anything there for now. So, but anyway, these troops got hit by a Baba Yaga drone. Which is interesting because Deep State UA kind of like claim that wow, they're somewhat half celebrating that the Fiats in the north, which is the Russian forces actually, got hit by mounted machine gun on the Baba Yaga, and then it's supposed to be a celebrating thing, but end up it's actually a Russian capture on our mapping. The last frontline change is over at Robotyne, just nearby, also in the Zaporizhzhia Front. In I think 2 or 3 days ago, the SITREP I mentioned the Ukrainians have insisted on the claim that they have half of Robotyne. They insisted this it's not even gray zone, is they put it in blue. Is utterly invalidated. So because there's no way, this is the second time Russian forces are geolocated in the north, and again this is geolocation of Russian forces right at the northern part of this Robotyne, and another one is right in the center, confirming that this entire area is under Russian control. It's important to note that the Russian Defense Ministry has announced the capture on the 15th of May, which is around 2-3 days ago. So this is a corroboration of Russian claims. So we, of course, in terms of mapping, we are still missing some parts. Like the northern area here, I'm not so sure. The roads and the site, along the highway, of course, we're not so sure, as well as in the eastern outskirts, but is looking more or less like it is Russian capture. So but of course Russian claims that, even Ryba contradicted it, but now we have the geolocations to kind of corroborate most of it. So we move into the strategic and tactical reporting, and first thing first, we have to let the pro-Ukrainian guys very happy, which is actually no, not happy, because 3 MiG-29 got shot down over Ukraine according to the Russian Defense Ministry. So this is claimed to be shot down by air defense. MiG-29s, yeah, Ukrainians have so much MiG-29s. So anyway, we move on over in the, now is the real one, the real happy news for the Ukrainians. Actually, the Ukrainians launched a massive drone strike on Sevastopol, which is Crimea and Krasnodar region. According to Ryba, the pro-Russian source, they claim that more than 140 aircraft and 20 naval drones was launched against Russian targets. The attack in Sevastopol lasted several hours. That's how big the scale of this attack. And so all the other information is not important, because it's all claims. There are claims to be taken down by electronic means, getting shot down and whatnot. And 100% there are stuff getting hit. There is already video footages of some oil facility getting hit. I think it's in the Krasnodar region. And at Sevastopol, there is clear signs that the Babik air base was hit, with some pictures coming out showing some stuff getting hit in the plane, all these things here. It's important to note some of these aircrafts that is actually parked here may actually not be active aircraft. It might actually be former Ukrainian planes that is already not in use. So, but whatever it is, the airbase was struck, but that's about it. It doesn't really, like, usually this kind of thing I don't like to report much, because it's it makes it's like porn. It's like porn. You can have a lot of it. It doesn't change anything that you are still alone. The front line still is moving towards Kiev. So it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so the same thing goes. The Russians can hit Ukraine, all this power station and whatnot. I usually don't talk much about it, if you notice, because it doesn't really reflect much. It doesn't have a correlation, in a direct way with the front line. We'll see the results in weeks and months to come. So yeah, let's wait for it to come. So we move into the Kharkiv Front. So as usual, because now is the age of the Kharkiv offensive, so we will start with Kharkiv Front. At the Kharkiv Front, there is the Russian forces continue their offensive. With fighting reported at Hliboke towards Lyptsi, south of this. What is this location? South of Lukyantsi, fighting at Starystya, fighting over here at Buhruvatka, as well as the Battle of Vovchansk continue. So this is the current strategic situation over at the Kharkiv Front. Let me turn off my Steam. For those that do not know, Steam is actually just a gaming platform. But I have no time to play games. So no, I have no life. So anyway, so there is the reported shelling over at the Hatyshche around here, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, and various geolocation of Ukrainian stuff getting hit all over the place. so we go into the Lyptsi sector. Lyptsi sector, Russian forces are fighting in the area of Hliboke. Ukrainian forces are counter-attacking in the Hliboke region. Ukrainian forces are even geolocated in the Dacha region, where the Ukrainians are hiding, getting hit by Russian tanks. However, in the latest geolocations, Russian forces geolocated to be rather far from our established front line. The distance of advance is 4 kilometers, and Russian forces are pushing towards Lyptsi, and to be honest, we are now looking at the beginning of the Battle of Lyptsi. With the Russian forces so up front, it looks like we can actually declare the start of the Battle of Lyptsi. Based on what I mentioned in the frontline changes report just now, earlier in this video, Russian forces have advanced south of Lukyantsi, and this also means that the Russians are looking to break through towards Nekushny in the pincer. So we shall see how this progress, because the situation at the Nekushny sector has been pretty much a blur, or maybe the Russian forces are unable to break through, or it's just always has been a diversion. So we do not know what's the situation, but Russian forces can actually do that, or they can actually proceed down south and hit all these entrenchments and start a battle at Vesele. So anyway, whatever this is currently happening. There is geolocation of Ukrainian artillery getting hit in the Mali Prokhody, and we zoom out. There is another geolocation south at Cherkassy Tishki or Ruski Tishki. There is a missile strike on a Ukrainian MLRS. I think it's there anymore. Yeah, so that's about it in this area here. As mentioned just now, Nekoshne sector is a blur right now. Nobody knows what's happening. There is no reports of fighting over the past 24 to 48 hours. So yeah, maybe the Russians gave up. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what's happening right here now. So the overlapping mapping is rather significant. We move into the Starystya sector. At the Starystya sector, we still have fighting reported at Starystya. According to Deep State UA, the Russian forces continue to try to capture Buhruvatka as well as Starystya. In the latest report from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, fighting continues to be reported at Starystya. So the fighting here is rather low intensity right now, and Buhruvatka did not have reports of fighting over the past 24 hours, only in the 2 days ago. And this may have something to do with the Russian capture of Buhruvatka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. So we shall see. We shall see how this progress. This is like I mentioned, this is logistically a very difficult place to reach. The Ukrainians fighting over here previously was geolocated. I mean, yeah, it's impressive. As I mentioned, the Ukrainians have no choice. They have to plug the hole. And we move on over into the Vovchansk front, not front, sector. At the Vovchansk sector, the Battle of Vovchansk continue. So there is no more fighting reported on the eastern side, so we can ignore Taikei region. So over at this area at Hatyshche, the Russian forces are attacking in this area here. This information is reported by Deep State UA on the 16th, which is around 2 days ago. They claim that there is fighting. The Russians are fighting to get full control of this town. There's a high possibility that it is already under Russian control. So no, they just kept quiet about it since. So there is various geolocations. Russian forces geolocated in 3 different locations, and this shows Russia continue to advance despite the Ukrainian Defense Ministry say that they are pushing out the Russian forces. So the Ukrainian Defense Ministry also mentioned they carry out counterattack, which is very interesting. This new guy that is doing the reports for the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, he actually give a lot more information, including some of these Ukrainian offensive actions, which is nearly never. The Ukrainians never talk about their offensives. So this guy is good. This guy have a different format as well. He published around 2 to 3 reports a day, and their timing is around 10:30, 2:30, 6 or 7, something like that. It's like it's a very different timing. Sometimes it changes for these past few days, which means that they no longer do a 6 a.m. report. So maybe he want to sleep. So, but then when he sleep, sleep well, he wake up, he do a proper report, which is also nice. Which means that this SITREP can be recorded earlier, because usually I try to wait for the 6 a.m. report, which actually sometimes delays the report. Well, I'm already free and nothing to do, but I'm waiting for the report. Now the with this change of formatting, the timing of the reports, I can actually do the SITREP earlier, which is a good thing for me. Yeah. So anyway, we have the Russians continue to be fighting at Vovchansk. The previous claims by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry about pushing the Russians out into the northern part or the northern outskirts is now invalidated because of the geolocations. So at least for this area here, definitely is under Russian control because of the two geolocations. But my guess is that the Russians have way more control than this. The likelihood that the Russian mapping is actually accurate, that they have taken almost all of the northern part of Vovchansk River, especially when you have this geolocation south of this hospital, which really indicates that the Russians have a very big control. Just that I cannot verify this area here, this peninsula around this Vovchansk River, so we have to wait. But the Ukrainian forces, the only geolocation is actually on the other side of the river. We have a Lancet hitting a Ukrainian tank just opposite of the hospital, and then another hit of the Lancet on the Max Pro. So these are probably Ukrainian reinforcement coming into the Vovchansk region, trying to attack and recapture the center part of Vovchansk. So, or Vovcha, sorry, I keep mispronouncing. Vovchansk sounds like like a Russian Japanese girl. Anyway, that's the situation right now. It's still a lot of gray zones, as you can see. The overlapping mapping is massive, so we'll definitely have to wait for more information and see how this progress. Further down, there is another a Humvee getting hit. So definitely the Ukrainians are sending a lot of equipment in this direction. They know the importance of Vovchansk, so they definitely trying to make sure that the Russians do not continue to break through. But in the rear positions, bad things continue to happen with Russian Lancets. Lancet is a suicide drone, in case you do not know. Continue to hit Ukrainian artillery positions. One in this Sovnovi Bear, and another at another counter artillery action is it's also a Lancet over at Shevchenkove, another one at Petropavlivka. All are Lancet strikes on Ukrainian artillery. So the Ukrainians are defending. They have your artillery positions in the rear position, trying to hit Russian positions. But as they try to support the defensive operation, they review their location, and Lancets can easily hit them. As when you fire, there's smoke and everything. There's flashes, so the surveillance drones can actually pinpoint where exactly they are, and they are able to launch attacks on it. So we move on. Over at the did I mention this SITREP, which is a bit late, is 18 minutes into the video. We are looking at multiple places that is going to start a battle, a totally new battle, and multiple locations that is nearing capture, which means in the next 48 hours we might see the reports of new Russian captures in Ukraine. So over at the Kherson Front, at Mykolaiv, there is a Iskander hitting a warehouse of Ukrainian unmanned boats, those surface drones over in the warehouse. And over at Krinky, we have new information because of this new guy is very nice. He basically tell us the direction of the Russian attacks on Krinky, Leshki, Pisky, and Zolachi, Lahire, Krinky. So which means that the Russian forces are attacking in two different directions. One's coming in from the west. The Russians are attacking from the west. Another one is coming from around the south. So this is the current situation. I'm not sure how much forces the Ukrainians have at Krinky right now. I don't imagine a lot. But the fighting continues. The Russians are continuing to try to put pressure on the Ukrainian forces at Krinky. This is looking like a very weird battle, but it is what it is. There is geolocation of a drone strike on Ukrainian mortar over at Novoberislav. Then we move on. I think that's about it from the Kherson Front. We move into the Zaporizhzhia Front. At the Zaporizhzhia Front, we have multiple fighting being reported at Pyatikaki, Nestayanka, and of course the Robotyne. So interestingly, the Russian forces are attacking Pyatikaki according to the Russian Defense Ministry and Nestayanka. I suppose this is just diversion because we do not have the continued report from here for the past 24 hours. It was only reported on the 16th, nothing on the 17th. So no, I don't think this is just a one-off. Over at Robotyne, as mentioned, there is no reports of fighting, but we have geolocation of showing the Russian forces basically have almost all of Robotyne, which might be the reason why there is no reports of fighting at Robotyne, because Russians has actually captured Robotyne itself. So we shall continue to monitor. We have declared the capture of Robotyne based on Russian Defense Ministry's report, but of course Russian Defense Ministry is not always correct. So we will still continue to wait for concession for the Ukrainians to concede that they have lost Robotyne. So we will definitely continue to wait. If the Ukrainians capture Robotyne, the next thing is to capture back this Surovikin line. So there's this major entrenchment around here along the highway. I think this will be the next objective for the Russian forces to take over, and then they can establish the previous line of defense. And then they can continue to push up and re-establish to the positions prior to the Ukrainian counteroffensive, and it would then 50% negate all the advance that the Ukrainians have succeeded in the counteroffensive. We move on over the Huaypole sector, as I already mentioned about the Russian geolocated in the northwest of Marfopil, confirming the Russians' control over entire of Marfopil. There is no indication the Russians are going to push into Huaypole, so I don't think this is a thing to worry about. At least if you are pro-Ukrainian. Over at the Donetsk Front, so this is the Donetsk Front. At the Donetsk Front, so we look at the strategic situation right now. Russian forces shelled Velika Novosilka sector, attack Staromayoske, Uruzaine. They are attacking east of Uruzaine. They are attacking in the Mikhailske region towards Vodian, southwest of Novomikhailivka, towards Konstantinivka. They are attacking in the area of Novomikhailivka towards Paraskovievka, shelling at Antonivka. Battle of Georgievka continues, and the Battle of Krasnohorivka continues. So this is the current strategic situation, and you can see this massive arrow going this direction, another one heading in this direction, another one, smaller ones in this direction. So Russian forces are, this is actually one of these major offensive areas, not smaller than the Kharkiv Front, so probably bigger. And over at the Velika Novosilka sector, other than the shelling report according to the Russian Defense Ministry on the 16th, we have Russians attack in various directions. The Battle of Staromayoske continue, Battle of Uruzaine continue. But the front line at Uruzaine is not changing. The geolocation of Russian airstrike on Ukrainian positions is very, very close to the front line. And according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, they mentioned this direction. This direction is actually in this area here, on the eastern part of Uruzaine. The Russians are making this new advance, trying to probably go around Uruzaine. So that's a possibility. So, but we have already mentioned this before with a previous push here. So maybe this push is a bit too close. So they're maybe trying something further away. So we move on away from Velika Novosilka sector. There is a fighting reporter at Mikhailske, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. But no, they say the Russians attack in this area here. We will definitely continue to monitor if this is a real offensive or this is just some probing attack or some recon. We move on over in the Konstantinivka region. The Russian forces are attacking in multiple directions. Paraskovievka towards Konstantinivka. In this area or the west of the southwest of Novomikhailivka, and a push towards Vodian. So this is the current situation. But the Ukrainian Defense Ministry makes some very weird report. One of this direction is Slavne towards Novomihailivka, which is weird because Slavne towards Novomihailivka. Yeah, but the Russians have already taken Novomihailivka, so it's kind of weird. Antonivka was mentioned in the Russian Defense Ministry report. Not important at all. Russian forces geolocated off Marinka, showing Russian presence here. And then we have, based on the Russian mapping, based on Russian Defense Ministry, RIBA, the Russian source, they claim near full control of Georgievka. So basically, they are claiming that they have almost or effectively captured Georgievka at this rate. But we not sure because they also didn't claim that they have captured Georgievka. They only mentioned that they are gaining a foothold in the line they took. But the mapping, the way they map it, looks like this. It's like, no, they are, from the look of it, it looks like the next 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours, the Russians will fully capture Georgievka. And this is a massive difference from the Ukrainian lines because according to the Ukrainians, this 2 kilometers difference is huge. The Ukrainians still claim that Georgievka is largely under, it's not under Russian control. So we will definitely continue to monitor this peculiarity. Over at the Battle of Krasnohorivka, this continues with fighting being reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry and RIBA. The fighting seems to be around the factory area, so probably around here. But yeah, I think it's currently stuck. So let's wait and see. We move into the Avdiivka Front. So the Fall Out of Love Front. The Russian forces continue their offensive in this region here, actually. They did not stop. Russian forces are attacking in Netailove, clashing with the Ukrainian forces. Similar things is happening at Umanske. Russian forces also clash with the Ukrainian forces over at Sloviove. Russian forces are attacking Sokil towards Yevnivka or Yeganivka. Russian forces attacking at Novosadove. Ukrainian forces counterattack at Arkhangelsk. And that's the strategic situation right now. And you can see that it's much more even now. But the Russian push along the highway towards progress seems to be much bigger. But they are currently stopped. And the Ukrainians are trying to make sure that the southern part is getting met. But they are meeting the Russians in the south. But the south, when they meet, the Russians are still making advances. With these two geolocations, Russian forces are making advances in Netailove and towards Yasnobrodivka. So Netailove is near capture right now. We are looking at very, very little bit of Netailove left that is not captured. Maybe 1 week, I would say, because the fighting here is very intense, so it's a bit slow. This is the Tyrannosaurus Rex fingers. However, there's no head. The Tyrannosaurus is lacking a head. The Russians are trying to grow one. They're trying to grow one here. That would be too big for the two tiny hands. Freaking species. Anyway, the Russian forces are also close to starting the Battle of Yasnobrodivka. But of course, if you look at Yasnobrodivka, there is hardly anything here. Just some mention, I guess. What is this? I have no idea. So anyway, yeah. So it's a small place. So Russian forces is probably going to jump into it very, very soon. Ukrainian forces definitely have to defend this area here. They are backed by the river. They will have to cross if they want to save themselves. If not, it will be a long way to where the save point is. So yeah, then they can save and load again next time. If they die, then they can reload the game. Over in the northern half, the Russian forces are attacking in various directions. I think they are still heading down the railway towards Yevnivka, Sokil. The clash at Solovyove is interesting. The Ukrainians are trying to still continue this pincer, I would say. They are still trying to do this pincer, but so far the Russians don't really care. They are continuing to push in this various direction. So we shall wait and see how this develop. Nothing much to really talk about. It got really boring right now in Avdiivka. I think no one cares now. Over at the New York Front, in the southern flank, there is fighting reported at Novosadove. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, the Ukrainians attacked on the 16th, but it was not reported on the 17th, so the attack probably have failed. There is geolocation of Russian airstrike in Alexandropil, so that's about it. So this front line around here seems to be, getting very close. According to the way how the Russians report, the Avdiivka Front and the New York Front is actually under the same formation, but clearly the Russians don't really care about the New York Front. The battle is all over in the Avdiivka Front. We move into the Bakhmut Front. So at the Bakhmut Front, Russian forces are attacking at Miasozharivka, Kreminna, Novi, towards Kyslivka in the Kyslivka region and Avdiivka. So that's about it. There is no interesting information in this area here, I would say. Russian forces, the Ukrainian forces was geolocated to be hit by some shelling, some attack by Russian drones just off Novi in this area here. As I mentioned, the Russians, I don't believe the Russians are interested to really capture Kyslivka. They just want to keep the pressure up and force Ukrainian forces to continue to defend Kyslivka and leave and concentrate a lot of military units and equipments in this area here in preparation of a breakthrough. But the Russians' main push is in elsewhere. That's what I think. And if you look at the amount of trenches in this area here, is ridiculous. I have no idea why the Russians will want to make this push. So it's not necessary. I think a massive breakthrough in other front lines will cause Ukrainians to withdraw forces from this area here, and then this line will just be so weakened, like the Avdiivka Front, that the Russians can just break through and create a breakout. So I think that is more strategically sound. At the Siversk Front, they're only fighting in the southern part, where the Russians are attacking in Mykolaiivka, Rozdolivka, Vesele, as well as towards Vimka. And there is this report about fighting at Zavnivka. Clashes took place near Zavnivka, which is weird because Zavnivka is actually very far away. So I'm not sure how the Russians reached there. Could there be an advance that is we are not seeing? But I don't think so, because if there's a huge advance in this way, it would be rather obvious. It would be reported, but there is this fighting the Vesele direction. The one that the report here is reporting the fighting from Vesele towards Zavnivka. So unless the report is suggesting that the Russians actually have a lot of capture in the field, in the hills in this region here, which allows them to then say fighting is near Zavnivka. I'm not sure. We shall wait and see. That we need some geolocations to confirm such information, or the Russian or Ukrainian mapping to confirm such information, because this is a bit ridiculous. This frontline change is around 4 kilometers, if it will be too big to ignore. Geolocation at Fedorivka of a Lancet hitting a Ukrainian location, and that's about it in this area here. That's all from the Siversk Front. There is something more. There's a thermobaric bombing on a Ukrainian position at Starystya. So that's about it. This Starystya, for those that do not know, that did not follow me in the earlier part of the war, the first year of the war, Starystya is a very strong position for the Ukrainians. This is where it's like a forward operating base, and so this is where the Ukrainians actually make a lot of stands. But the Russians' furthest advance is actually in the hilly region here. This was, I think, the furthest the Russian forces ever gone to, but that failed. So we move into the Kreminna Front. So at the Kreminna Front, we have shelling being reported at Krasny Liman, or Crispy Lemon. So some shelling around here at Crispy Lemon. Fighting is reported at Novosadove, which is only one day. And that's about it. Suddenly, Kreminna Front went quiet. Nothing was being talked about here anymore. Suddenly, the Russian forces just decided that, okay, let's go on holiday. We move into the Svatove Front. At the Svatove Front, similar things happening. Suddenly, all the fighting over here has went quiet. The only fighting is now being reported at Stelmakhivka. The Ukrainian forces reportedly counterattack on the 16th. This is not reported on the 17th. Russian forces attack at Miasozharivka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So, and that's about it. In the Svatove Front, suddenly everything just disappeared. We move into the Kupyansk Front. At the Kupyansk Front, a lot of things happening. We get rid of this one first. Russian forces clashing with Ukrainian forces at Synkivka. Wrong color. So at Synkivka, that's about it. So now let's look at this southern part, which is more interesting. So Russian forces are attacking at Ivanivka. They are fighting in the area of Kyslivka, clashing with the Ukrainian forces, and Russian forces are attacking Berestove. So Ukrainian forces are counter-attacking actively, and this area is particularly huge. Russian forces at the Krokhmalne region have expanded hugely. You can see the front line change is massive. Russian forces from Krokhmalne have expanded control massively in this area here westward towards Pischane. So the Russians are going to start the Battle of Pischane if this continues. And in another direction, they are hitting southward towards Berestove. And so this is based on geolocation. Russian forces are geolocated over there. Ukrainian forces are actively trying to defend this southern breakthrough. So we will definitely wait. If you look at the Berestove situation, there is geolocation of Ukrainians getting shelled by artillery. And if we believe the Ukrainians, the front line is actually here. The front line is actually here. And the Russians are hitting into the rear position of Berestove. And this is confirmed because of the geolocation. So the Ukrainian forces are going to struggle to hold this position. They will have to decide what to do. Should they redraw? If not, another push is going to come from Novosadove. And this is going to cause a pincer. So Ukrainian forces, I believe, may abandon Berestove very, very soon. But that's a very huge possibility. So and then we move on over the Kyslivka region. The Russian forces have expanded control in the northern part, and Ukrainian forces are trying to actively quite quickly defend. The fighting is being reported by Deep State UA, of course, based on the frontline change. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry on the 16th reported about their counterattack. So, but we shall wait and see. The Russian forces are looking to expand their control, and it's going to be rather bad, especially if the frontline change is going to continue in this way, in this direction. Then they will be able to attack northward into Ivanivka, and then this will cause a pincer. This will cause a pincer with the Russians attacking from both sides. So because the Russians already have this tree line around here, so this is going to be yet another disastrous situation, and the Battle of Ivanivka might begin. So a lot of developments around Ukraine. So this is the summary for the day of 813 to 814 for the 16th to 17th of May. This is a lot of changes, a lot of very strategically and tactical significant developments. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't watch the SITREP. So do help me share, help me explain to people what you saw, and if you can explain, and then don't just share the link, help to inform more people, help to get more people to watch this video, and to help to maintain DPA's coverage on the Ukraine war, because you need money, we need revenue to keep this going. If not, how do I answer to my wife about spending so much time on this thing? So thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update. Have you fed the like button or not? Oh,